Good day, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Greatness Engineering Hour show. As usual, and you know it by now, I always bring you champion and people who have, something to share, an inspiring story, a particular knowledge that you can, learn from. And, the show is here for you. It's here to inspire you, but not just inspire you. I hope that, everything that you're gonna learn today, it's gonna be a good opportunity for you to act on it as well. Because at the end of the day, if you don't act on the knowledge that you get, then it's time wasted. So take the time to come in and get your pen, get your some paper to write on, because I know that today you're going to learn a lot from our guests, because we're going to focus on the mindset. And given what's happening in the world, I think it's a great subject to focus on. So who do we have today? Today we have Rose Flores, all the way from the US. He's a global mindset disruptor and a dynamic international motivational speaker and author as well. And Rose speaks all over the world using his unique story growing up with a physical disability and how you can use your mind to overcome anything. So it's going to be very interesting today to hear about, Rose's story and how he's been able to build up his own mindset to navigate, this world, which is, full of uncertainty and full of obstacle. So don't go anywhere. Let's start. And let me bring Rose so that we can start, an amazing conversation with him to understand, how we can build up our mindset and how, how important the mindset is in our life, especially, for him who've been through a different path. So let's start and let's just, have a great conversation, and don't hesitate to ask any question, or if you have any insight, to interact with us, just do so. So we're gonna start, and I know that it's gonna be an amazing conversation today, as usual.
Right? On memories. But as I got older, I started to be more aware of some of the abusive sides of
So welcome, Rose, to the Greatness Engineering Hour show. It's such a pleasure to host you today and to really understand, and get to learn from you how, we can optimize and use our mindset to get us to the next level of our greatness. So before we get into, this, anticipated, exciting conversation, just wanted you to, introduce yourself. Let us know who is Rose, and, we really want to know the key thing that have actually built up, what you built you up to where you are today.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on your show. That's a great intro, by the way. I was vibing in the back to the beat. I was like, oh man, that's some nice music you got. So that's a great
That's
intro.
fantastic.
Yeah. So again, thank you for having me. And I appreciate everybody that's tuning in. If, like she said, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments because we're going to have a good conversation today. And as she mentioned, my name is Jose Flores, global motivator, mindset disruptor, best-selling author, and just a super cool dude who just wants to help as many people as I can get to the top and win in life in general. So for those of you who don't know about me or who I am, I was born with a neuromuscular condition called spinal muscular atrophy. And as you can see, for some of you, you can see that I'm in a wheelchair due to the condition that I was born with. The funny thing is that when I was younger, I lived a great childhood. I was able to walk and run and do all the things that normal, healthy young boys do. And as I got older, my body started getting weaker because that's what the condition does. The older I get, the weaker my muscles get. And so the doctor said that by the age of 15, I would end up in a wheelchair. They weren't even expecting me to live past my teenage years. But I have amazing news because this year, on February the 25th, I celebrated my 43rd birthday. So I'm super excited about that. That's right. Yeah. And I'm still kicking life's butt. You know, I wake up every morning on fire, motivated, excited about life because I'm still here. I'm still alive. I still have a sound mind. I still have my voice and I'm doing what I love to do. But the thing is that it wasn't always like that, right? As my body started to give up on me, it was around high school. In my senior year of high school, my body really started to give up on me in essence. It just became more difficult for me to do things like going up and down the steps. Even walking started to become a little challenging for me because my leg would give out at random moments. And so my entire life, every time this condition takes a new phase of the condition kicks in, I've always had to learn how to adapt and adjust throughout my entire life. Not only physically, right? When an ability that I was able to do decreases and I'm no longer able to do it, or it becomes very difficult for me to do it, not only physically was it challenging and I had to learn how to adapt physically, but more importantly, I had to learn how to adapt and adjust mentally to be able to deal with the new phase of this condition kind of taking over my body. So it was a challenging time when I was younger. It's challenging now, right? Life in a wheelchair isn't easy. So it's challenging now even. So, but the difference is that the mindset that I had back then is very different from the mindset that I have now, which makes it more manageable. And, like I said, when I was younger, it became difficult. And I had the mindset that said, I was always thinking I'll never be able to do anything great. I'll never be able to make a difference, make an impact, leave a legacy, touch someone's life. And I just thought that I was just going to live and die in this wheelchair, just rotting away, living in my parents' house until the clock stopped ticking on my life. But I made a decision, that said it took me a little time, because dealing with a condition like this, from being able to walk and feeling healthy and doing all the things that quote unquote normal people do, it made it challenging for me. And so for many years, I had that type of mindset that kind of kept me stuck in that place. But when I was in my late 20s, early 30s, that's when the shifting took place, because we all get to a point in our lives where we get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And when we get to that point, we have two options, right? There's two choices. Either we're going to settle there and conform there and get comfortable there, or we're going to stretch out and keep pushing forward and find more, right? Find the more that we want out of life. And I wanted more out of life, and I chose not to settle. So I made a choice and I said, I'm not going to let this wheelchair defeat me. I'm not going to let this wheelchair define me. And I'm not going to let this wheelchair dictate my destiny. And that's when I really started to change my thinking, change my thought processes, really understand what I really wanted out of life. Because the reality is when you ask even grownups today that are physically able-bodied people, what do you want out of life? What is it that you really want? Most people don't even know what they want. They kind of go through the motions of what they've been programmed to do, We've been programmed since birth on how we should be living our lives. And it's with that programming that a lot of us, stay stuck and don't live the fulfilling life that we all should and deserve to live. And so,
And go ahead.
I
Sorry.
was going to say, for me, I got to that point where I needed to pivot. I needed to shift and go after what it was that I wanted in life.
And that's powerful because, like you said, even for able people, physically able people, we sometimes lost and we are programmed and we are paralyzed and we even die before we get old. And that's important to understand, that it's not just about the physical. It's actually about what you have in your mind and what you really want in life. Do you want to get stuck, or do you want to really go and try to become as the best that you can be, irrespective of the limit that people put around you, or the limit that you have in your life? And that's very important that people understand that. So you were talking about having the shift, at some point you have this shift, but where did it come as a result of a certain breakthrough, or is it something that just happen, or is it something that you've worked through for a certain number of time, follow a certain number of steps, or did you have somebody who actually created this breakthrough in your life? How did it happen?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I get that question quite frequently. And I think for me, it was a buildup of a bunch of different things, right? I was sick and tired of the disability or the condition. I was sick and tired of just living check to check. I was sick and tired of barely making it. I was sick and tired of having that scarcity mentality, and it was a buildup of the years of everything, of the programming that I spoke about earlier, the programming that we had. Like, you're supposed to go to school, graduate high school, then go to college, graduate college, then get a job, hopefully in the field that you went to college for, and then work that job for 20 years until you retire. And then hopefully you have enough money in your 401k or your retirement. And hopefully you stay alive long enough to enjoy it a little bit. And that's kind of like the programming that most of us have had. And so I just got to the point where I was just since I had a buildup of that, I have an extensive experience in corporate America. I come from a corporate America background. And it was great. I liked doing it. I met some amazing people. I had some amazing opportunities, but there was still a void inside of me, something that was calling out to me saying, there's more that you can be doing than just this, Jose. You have more potential. You have more intelligence. You have more capabilities than just doing this. And not to downplay what I was doing, because doing what I was doing provided a very decent lifestyle for me and my family. But there was still that void that was like, man, you could be doing so much more than just this. And so once I started getting that feeling, I really started to expand my thinking and my options and looking at, well, what else is there that I can do, that I can become successful at, that I would enjoy doing, that I would love doing. And once I started answering those questions and finding the answers to those questions, my life really started to take another shift, and really things started to just fall into place for me. And I mean, not really fall into place, because at the end of the day, we have to put in the work as well, right? I was doing the research, I was putting the time in, and I was paying my dues with looking for the information that I needed to get me to where it was that I wanted to go. But as I was doing that, it was confirmation for me, because things started to fall into place. I started meeting the right people, making the right connections, the right opportunities. I started taking advantage of them, and just being able to be in that realm of understanding that what I want out of life, I have to go and get it. So I put the work in, I put the time, I put the hours in, day after day, night after night, doing what I needed to do. So I was basically working two jobs. I was still working in corporate America, which was my full-time job. That was what was paying the bills. And then when I came home at night, I was working on my dream job, which was becoming an international motivational speaker, author, and coach and consultant. And it was hard, right? And anything that's worth having in life is hard. So yeah, I would come home, 5 o'clock, 5:30, eat dinner, and then from like 6:30 to 11:30 p.m. midnight, I would work on my dream job. And doing that for a couple years, again, then you start to see results, right? It's like going to the gym. If you go to the gym for 2 weeks, 2 months, 9 months, you may see some small results, but maybe not the results that you're actually looking for, because that type of stuff takes time. And so just going through the process and understanding that, now today I'm proud to say that, I'm a best-selling author. I actually linked up with one of the greatest to ever do it on the planet, Mr. Les Brown. He's my personal coach, my mentor. He's my friend. I call him my spiritual pops. And he wrote the...
We lost the...
Yeah, I actually hit the button by accident. He actually wrote...
Okay.
Yeah, he wrote the forward to my best-selling book, Don't Let Your Struggle Become Your Standard.
Okay. Yeah,
so forward to, which actually just made USA Today, Yahoo Finance, and Forbes top 20 books to read this summer. So again, from a young boy, Puerto Rican boy who grew up in the Bronx, New York, who thought nothing great was ever going to happen for him because of the condition, right? Because what people, the cards that I was dealt, and now, but the funny thing is that I just played the card that I was dealt. I played the card that I was dealt. I didn't throw the hand in. I played it, and I took a chance on myself. And because I did, today I'm able to do what I love to do, which is travel the world, impact and inspire lives. And I speak for major corporations. I do one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and have all these great things that I'm doing and impacting so many lives. And I'm living my dream, right? And the other funny thing is that we all have big dreams, right? We all have dreams. We all want to have the big house, the nice car, the healthy looking bank accounts. And that stuff is great. But my main dream was wondering if a woman was ever going to love me like this, because I felt like damaged goods. I was like, oh man, no one's going to want to deal with a guy like me in my situation. But, and I would also dream about having children and working a job and driving a car, owning a home, all those things. And, through the grace of God, he's blessed me with a beautiful wife. We just celebrated our 13th year anniversary last month in July. We got married on 7/7/7, which is our lucky number. Yeah, right. And, so not only did he bless me with a beautiful wife, but we have 2 amazing children together. I drive my own car. We own our own home. We have our own company, and we do what I love to do, what we love to do. And I don't say that to impress you guys, but I say that to impact and inspire you and let you know that dreams are still coming true today. And the reason I know that to be true is because I'm a living testimony of that. And I help people and let them understand, like, I call myself the mindset disruptor, right? And it's not just because I'm like, hey, I just want to call myself the mindset disruptor because it sounds cool. No, the reality is that since I've been able to disrupt my own mind and disrupt my own mindset and my old ways of thinking and my old and the old negative thoughts that would infiltrate my mind, now I'm able to help others disrupt their mindset as well.
And that's important that people understand, because you've gone through it, so it's not you're not faking it, you've not learned it somewhere, you've gone through it, so the steps, and you're probably the right person to talk about it. So you went through this disruption, and now you're using your own experience and your own knowledge to help others and help them to go to the next level of the disruption in their life, which is very important. And what I like from your message is that at the end of the day, whatever challenge we go through, it starts with us. It has to start with us thinking about what attitude we're going to adopt in front of this challenge, and how we're going to what are we going to choose? Are we going to choose to just let it go and die in a way, or just keep pushing until we get to those dreams that we have? And that's very important. So let's have just a short break, and we'll get back and continue, this conversation with, a little bit more on, the mindset. And because I know that you've worked, you have a process, that particular process that you define. And so we can, get to have more insight on that. So for those listening today, my guest is Rose Flores, and like you heard, is a mindset disruptor. So don't go anywhere, because we want you to be disrupted today, and to start thinking about going to the next step of your greatness. Because like you can see, like you heard from Rose, dreams comes true. You just have to have the right mindset. So don't go anywhere. We are going to be back.
Jose Flores, international speaker, motivator, author, and mindset disruptor. He is a world-class professional speaker that inspires and motivates individuals of all ages to strengthen their mental toughness and become indispensable leaders. Jose travels around the world touching hearts through his unique story of overcoming challenges in order to empower others to see life from a new level and achieve unlimited possibilities. He's developed a unique way to captivate his audience through his charismatic personality and straight from the heart message that brings forth transformation, action, and inspiration.
A lot of you may be looking at me and saying, hey, he's in a wheelchair. Yeah, I might not be that strong physically, but mentally, I'm telling you, this is where most people get stuck, is in the comfort zone. And it's not until you make that choice and that decision that says, I'm going to step out, that things start to change in your life.
Jose is the author of a dynamic book titled Don't Let Your Struggle Become Your Standard. And it is with this motto that he lives every day of his life and inspires others to do the same. He's been featured on NBC, ABC, Fox, Entrepreneur, Addicted to Success, SiriusXM Radio, and iHeartRadio, where his message has impacted lives on a global scale. From one-on-one coaching to speaking for major corporations and conferences, Jose's message will leave his audience feeling inspired and motivated. He truly believes that the present is a gift and the time is now. He wants you to stand tall and be the very best version of yourself that you can be. Book Jose today and see how his message will ignite and transform your audience.
So we are back. We are back with Rose, and as you heard, the time is now. Don't ever delay anything. Start working on your mindset now. So Rose, tell us what do you think is the mindset, and how do you disrupt people's mindset? Do you have what are the strategies, the tools that you use? Because, like you said, a lot of us have been programmed from day one when we were born, and it can be very difficult to shift at a certain point, especially after a long time being stuck in a certain mindset.
Well, the mind has three main mechanisms, and you've probably heard it before. You have the flight, fight, or freeze, right? Fight, flight, or freeze. When we experience a situation in life, whether it's traumatic, exciting, welcoming, or we don't want it, we don't like it, our mind jumps into one of those three categories: fight, flight, or freeze. So I chose to fight, right? I chose to fight. Many people choose to the flight option, which is mean I don't want to deal with this. I'm not going to deal with this, and I'm getting out of here. Right? Or they stay where they are and they just deal with that, even though they don't want to be there, but they've been so accustomed to being there that they start to get comfortable and they just stay there. Even when they start to get outside, maybe they may get some courage to step outside of their comfort zone. When things start to get hard, they go back into their comfort zone because that's what they're familiar with, even if they don't like it. Right. And it's funny how the brain works. Like the brain knows that you don't like that, but you still retreat back to where it is that you don't like. And some people that's the freeze portion of it, right? They just freeze and they stay stuck right there. So we just have to make up our minds when anything happens in life. What are we going to do? What are you going to do? If you're watching this right now and you're going through a situation, you're going through a storm, you're going through through a struggle or an adversity, ask yourself, are you going to fight? Are you going to take flight? Or are you going to freeze? Which one are you going to do? Because that's going to determine where you end up in life. You see, for me, if I chose not to fight, I would still be probably living with my parents. My body would probably be doing worse than it is now. And I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, which is what I love to do, which is inspiring and motivating people. So I had to make that choice. And once I did, it changed my life. So we have so much, we don't give our minds sometimes the credit that it deserves on how powerful it really is. So one of the first things you want to do is, we all know about negative and positive. If you're living in a negative environment, if you have negative friends, if you're listening to negative, music or watching negative TV shows, all of that has influence on our minds and what we think. Whatever we focus on the longest is what becomes the strongest, right? So if we're constantly focusing on negativity and negative things, then that's going to dominate our lives. And then on the contrary, if we're focusing on positive things, then that's going to dominate our lives. And, we all know about the law of attraction. So whatever you are, you are going to attract. So if you're a negative individual, you're going to attract other negative individuals. You're going to attract other negative situations and circumstances. So it just starts with making that small tweak and changing slightly. It doesn't take this big, massive change for things to change, right? I like to say slow and steady, because we've been accustomed and programmed and trained for so long to live this type of way. Depending upon the environment that we've grown up in or the culture that we've grown up in, we've been trained to act a certain way, to do things a certain way. And sometimes those ways aren't always the right ways, right? Different cultures have different things, different environments have different things. And just because it may feel good or look good doesn't mean that it is good. So we have to make those shifts in our minds with the way we think. And the reality is that we all know what's right and wrong. We all know what's negative and positive. We all know what's good and bad. So we have to be courageous enough to make the right decisions that's going to help us get to where we want to get to in life. And so I always like to practice having an attitude of gratitude, like being thankful and grateful for the things that you do have and the things that you're able to do, the opportunities, the capabilities, your skills, your gifts, your talents, because sometimes we even disqualify those things or don't give them enough credit. Like we all have our own level of skills and talents. So once we start to utilize those and maximize those, it will change your life. I guarantee you it will change your life. Listen, nothing changes unless you change. Nothing changes unless things change. You're the only conduit that's responsible for making that change. And once you do, if it's a positive one, it's going to change your life for the better, right? You're going to start to meet positive people. You're going to start to go to positive events and be around positive environments. And listen, we've all heard say that, a good attitude or positive attitude is contagious, right? And the same is true for negativity. It's contagious as well. If you're in a negative environment for a long period of time, it's going to start to rub off on you. So the choice is ours. We can make the choice. You can pivot. If you're watching right now, you're listening to this, you can make a choice right now, this very moment, as you're listening to both of us speak. You can make a choice right now. Right now, you can make a choice and then start to take the steps that are necessary to see the change and be the change that you want to see in your life.
Very, very powerful. And, and it's important that people understand that the responsibility is with them, it's with them. We have to start, taking action. We have to start, being, doing the work to be able to have the right people around us, but also, the internal work, which is the mindset, have the positivity, be grateful for what we have, and really, take those baby steps, because like you said, it can take a long time because we've been programmed for so long, but just continue to take those steps and build this resilience and stay positive, whatever it's happening in front of us. And that's very important that that we understand that. But what I've been, because obviously you've built you've built yourself, you've built your mindset, but what have been the importance of your surrounding, actually, because you talked about a lot about being surrounded by positive people, being surrounded by the right people. So what role did they play in everything that you've been able to accomplish? And would you say that it would have been very difficult for you still to be wherever you are if they were not around?
Yeah, that's a powerful statement, because what they say, that birds of a feather flock together, right? So you are who you hang out with, in other words. So I knew that if I wanted to become successful as a motivational speaker, as an international speaker, as a trainer, as a coach, as a consultant, then I needed to hang around people who were already doing it and already winning, and winning big, right? So I started to follow these individuals such as Les Brown and Tony Robbins and Eric Thomas, and some of these, Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar, some of these big, great individuals that have done it, and just start to just model what they're doing, just mirror what they're doing. I would go to events. Like, I remember one time, I live in South Florida, in the Miami area of the United States, and since I drive my own car, there was a point in time where I was going to every single event that was happening in South Florida, whether it was a networking event, a seminar, a conference, a meetup. Like, I was always showing up. And I remember this one guy told me that I didn't even know who he was, but I remember one time he came up to me and he was like, "Man, Jose, I see you everywhere." And I was like, "Yeah, man, I try to have my face in the place as much as possible." And, he said it jokingly, because he used to go to a couple of events, and I kind of saw him a couple of times as well. We never spoke until that day. He was like, "Man, I see you everywhere." So, it makes it difficult for able-bodied people to make excuses when they see me so active, so productive, so energetic, so on fire, so passionate, so purpose-driven, because they're like, "Man, if this guy can do everything he's doing and he's in a wheelchair and I'm not, then what's my excuse?" And it kind of changes their thinking. It kind of changes their mindset, changes their drive and their energy. They're like, "Man, if he's getting it and he's like that, then there's no reason why I can't get it too." Right. And so it kind of makes them think like, "Oh man, I gotta," because let's be honest, no one wants to lose. No able-bodied person wants to lose to a guy in a wheelchair, right? It's just not a good look.
No, it doesn't make you good, It's, I don't know. It's even, you want to go and hide,
And so that's what I purposed. I purposed to be around the right people. I purposed to find those people, find out what they're doing, where they're going to be at, and I purposed to make sure that I showed up. I'm a firm believer that there's power in showing up. That's actually one of the chapters in my book, The Power of Showing Up, because the reality is that if we want to have a successful life and we want to live the life of our dreams, then it all starts with showing up for life. You have to show up for your life. When you wake up in the morning, you have to understand that there's people that are out there that are counting on you. Not only your family, right? Your wife, your kids, your immediate family, but there's people out there that are that are counting on you to show up. I remember one of my mentors told me, he said, "You know what, Jose, every day that you don't show up and you don't put up a post on Facebook, or you don't put out a video or a piece of content, you're being selfish and arrogant." And I was like, "Oh, wow, really?" And he was like, "Yes, because there's people that are counting on you to show up for life, to show up for them. They may be going through a bad day, and they're saying, 'Hey, you know what? Let me go see what Jose is talking about today.'" And I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've put out a piece of content and people respond back to me like, "Oh man, this is exactly what I needed to hear today. Oh, this is exactly what I needed right now at this point in my life. Oh man, that word you gave, man, that really touched my heart. And now I know what I need to do. Now I know what decisions I need to make." And it's so rewarding. Like, that's the rewarding part of being able to do what I love to do. Because when I get messages like that, it just like, it's confirmation for me, like, "Jose, you're doing what you need to do. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing," right? We talk about purpose. So many people, right? And I said earlier, you ask somebody what they want to do in life, what they want in life, and they don't know. But you ask somebody what your purpose is, and so many people don't even know what their purpose is. They don't even know what purpose means, right? And so once you can find what your purpose is, right? And purpose is just understanding what the reason of your existence is. What were you created to do? And once you understand what that is, again, it's life changing, because now you're not just living to work at a job. Now you're not just living to get a paycheck, but you're living in your purpose, and understanding that you were created on purpose and for a purpose. And when you're functioning in that purpose, it's not like, it doesn't feel like work. You're not doing it for a check. You're not doing it for this. You're not doing it for that. You're doing it because it's what you're supposed to be doing. And once you understand that, your life will never go back to the way it was.
That's so powerful, so powerful. And I think a lot of people need to hear that today, with all the challenges that we're going through with the pandemic, and then the economy, being all over the place as well. We can see, a lot of people really, giving up. They've not even started, fighting, but they're giving up, and they don't want to show up for their life. And it's very difficult, for them to think even of anything, because like you said, they don't know their purpose, because they don't realize that it's just a certain time, in their journey, and there's something bigger that they need to focus on. And that's the key, is that, when you understand why you are here, why you were born, then it's another ball game. It's another ball game, definitely. So, we obviously, we can't avoid this question. I mean, there's, COVID-19 pandemic, and like I said, people are, emotional. The emotions are high sometime, and then people are giving up. So what are the key things that you would, recommend to any person really going through a very difficult time and getting ready to give up, basically?
Well, if anybody knows me or has been following me for any amount of time, you know that my motto is, I won't stop until I win. I'm always saying, I won't stop until I win. And I've made that a mantle in my life, because, I'm human. And even though, Les Brown calls me the motivator to the motivators, there's days where I don't have, every day is not a good day for me, right? Even though I purpose for it to be a good day, there's some days where I'm human, right? My body's feeling a different kind of way, and I'm not feeling 100%, and it's tough. So when I go through those times in life, I remind myself, Jose, you can't stop until you win. Jose, you can't stop until you win. And it's funny, because some people will tell me, man, Jose, you're already winning. Man, Jose, you're already winning. And I understand that, but there's no such thing of just winning once, right? You don't just win once and that's it, game over. You still go. It's like sports, right? They play several games throughout the season. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose, but that ultimate goal is that championship, right? And if they don't get that championship this year, then next year they know they got to train harder, they got to train smarter, they got to train tougher, because they're going to be playing those games to win, to get to the. Everybody wants to be a champion. And so if you're watching this and you're listening to this, I want you to understand that you can't stop until you win, right? I know that you have goals. I know that you have dreams. I know that you have ambitions. There's things that you want to do in life. There's places that you want to go. There's people that you want to meet. And if you give up now, then none of that stuff is going to happen. So you have to keep pushing yourself. And it all starts with the mind, right? This is what we've been talking about the whole time, building that mental muscle, that mental resilience, that mental toughness, that when life starts to happen to you, right? When those storms come, you say, no matter what, I'm not going to stop until I win. I'm not going to stop until I win. I'm not going to stop until I win. And you keep saying that long enough, you're going to start to believe it, right? You're going to start to believe it, and you're going to keep pushing. And when those days come where you don't feel like going forward, you're going to remember, I can't stop until I win. And you're going to push yourself to keep going forward, keep gaining that momentum, even if it's a small step in the right direction is better than no step in no direction, right? And so I just want you to understand that during this COVID-19, I know that a lot of people are dealing with isolation. They're dealing with cabin fever. Their mental health is starting to kind of like play tricks on them. So I would just say that use this time right now to start to build what it is that you want to see in life. The type of life that you want to have, start to use this time wisely and constructively to build what it is that you want. That's what I've been doing. And during this pandemic, I've written another book. that I just finished with my wife. I've created a digital course. I've updated my website. I've been reaching out to people, to calling people, writing emails, writing letters, sending books, just, because I want to do whatever I can so that once the doors open back up to the globe, right? Once the doors open back up and things kind of get somewhat back to normal, I want to make sure that I'm prepared to add a ton of value to people. I want to make sure that I'm prepared to take as many people as I can with me to the top, right? Because we all want to get to the top, but no one is willing to do the work. Not no one, but many people aren't willing to do the work that's required to get to where they want to get to in life, right? Most people are want to take the easy way, the easy route. And I understand that, right? Because everybody likes easy. Nobody likes hard. Nobody likes hard. Like even when you hear people that say, "Oh, you got to love the process. You have to embrace the process." I mean, that kind of sounds good, but nobody loves going through the process. Nobody loves going through the process of losing weight. Nobody loves going through the process of rehabilitating themselves from a drug addiction or an alcohol addiction. There's a process that I didn't enjoy going through the process of my body getting weak and giving up on. I didn't enjoy that process. I didn't like the process. I didn't want to go through the process. I was actually forced to go through that process. And then by being forced to go through the process, I learned how to embrace the process. Then I learned how to enjoy the process and love the process. Even though, and I say love the process because I understand, like I've been able to develop the mindset that understands that we have to go through the process. There is no skipping it. Right? We have to go, but it's in the process, is going through the process that you develop that character. You develop your character, you develop integrity, you develop the mindset, you develop the mental toughness, you develop the skills and the strategies that are needed to go through the process. And then guess what happens? Later on, since you've been going through the process and you've been building yourself up, you've been building different muscles, different mindsets, different strategies. When life happens again in the future and something attacks you or a storm hits, now you know how to get through the storm. Now you know how to attack back. Now you know how to fight back, right? Because you've been going through the process in your own life of dealing with different adversities, different challenges, that when other things happen in your life, you are prepared to deal with it and not give up and not stop until you win and keep pushing forward. And so that's what excites me. I love talking about this stuff. I hope that your listeners that are watching and listening are inspired and motivated. And once we're done with this call, they'll get back to what they know they need to do and start taking action, right? Because you said it earlier in the show. You said that, we can get all the information, we can have all the knowledge, but if we don't apply it, right? And the applying part is the taking action part. You have to take action, because you can have it, you can know everything, you can have all the information in the world, but if you're not applying it, you're not acting on it, then nothing is going to happen for you. You must act and you must apply. And that's when things will start to change in your life.
Powerful, powerful, powerful. We have one long comment here from, Fazia. She's watching from South Africa, and she felt really inspired when listening to you. And, choice, and she's saying choice is ours to take responsibility for our positive action. And she loved the statement, power to show up for life, to take action now and to make things happen now. So yeah, and it's important to stress out about the urgency, which is now, and you can't delay this. You have to act instinctively now. Whatever is going to happen, that, like you said, the process might be painful, but you have no option and you have to start, because if you don't start, then you get stuck where you are, and that's important to know. So I mean, I can see that you in terms of mindset, it's so powerful now, and almost thinking that nothing can actually disrupt you anymore. I know that you're disrupting other people's mindset, but what would you say have been something that you regret not doing Obviously, you've accomplished a lot already, and you went through, you managed to go through all the obstacles that came in front of you. But is there anything that you would say, no, I regret, or I would have done it differently?
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing that I regret is not starting earlier. Understanding that if I would have started earlier, I would have been in a completely different place than what I am now. But everybody, different strokes for different folks, right? Everybody has to go through their own process in their own timing. But a lot of people ask me, if I can tell my younger self one thing, what would it be? And it would be, start now. Don't wait till you're 29, 30, 35, 40. Start now. Get the information now. Get the knowledge now. Get the wisdom now, and start applying now. Because the earlier you start, the earlier you're going to be able to start living the dreams that you have, right? The longer you wait, the longer it's going to take. And that's all a part of, like, it's a part of life, right? It's a part of procrastination. It's a part of our limiting belief systems. It's a part of what we've been trained. It's everything that we've been speaking about during the show. All of that is a part of us, whether we don't make it or we do make it, right? Because it's what we go through in life that's either going to make us or break us. And when you couple all of that together, it's who we are, right? It's who we become. But that doesn't mean that we can't change, we can't shift, we can't pivot, right? Just because you maybe have been born, in poverty. I saw that, and many of you have probably seen this quote so many times. It says, you may have been born in poverty, right? But staying in poverty is your choice.
Exactly.
It's your choice. Because you have the same, we have the same tools. Like, everybody has the same tools, the same resources. Maybe not the same resources, but we all have Google, we all have YouTube, right? We all have internet for the most part. And it's amazing. Sometimes, like, I'll be driving down the road and I'll see some homeless people begging for money, but they're on their cell phones. And I'm like,
that's funny, isn't it?
It is. It's crazy because, so we all have, we have opportunities. Like, what are we doing with our resources? What are we doing with our time? What are we doing with our skills, with our talents? So it's just a matter of, if you want your life to look amazing, then you have to start doing some amazing things. And it starts with taking action. It starts with making up your mind. We have so many thoughts, right? There was a study that said that we think 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. That's a lot of thoughts.
Yeah,
right?
That's a lot.
So how are we managing those thoughts? How are we filtering those thoughts? How are we making sure that the thoughts that are coming into our mind, those 60 or 70,000, that the majority are the right ones and the positive ones that we need to be able to move forward and take the action that we need to take? Because at the end of the day, right, we let fear get into our mind. We don't move. We get afraid. We get stuck. We let limiting beliefs get into our mind. We start thinking about where we came from, how we're not capable, how we're not qualified. We let all these different thoughts start to attach themselves in our mind. But that's when we have to step up and say, no, I'm not going to think those things. I'm not going to allow that thought to take root in my mind, to pollute me and infiltrate what I'm trying to do and where I'm trying to go. And immediately you can start thinking the opposite. Whenever a negative thought comes in, you counter attack it with a positive thought. Oh, I can't. Oh, what if it doesn't work? Well, what if it does work? What if I can't do it? What if I can do it? Right? What if this person says no? What if that person says yes? Right? There's always a counter. So I'm a firm believer in just going and attacking life as much as you can and seeing what happens, because you never know. You're only one connection away from your life changing. You're only one thought away from your life changing. You're only one idea or one invention or one networking event or one live Facebook stream like we're doing now, right? Or YouTube stream. You're only one thing, one opportunity, one experience away from your life looking completely different than what it's looking right now.
Exactly. And I like this message because like you said, we always have option, especially now there's so many things, even with the pandemic, because of the internet, and we can access people, we can access resources, we can communicate, we can still do a lot. And I think like you said, it's a matter of have managing our thoughts properly, and really looking at opportunity and option instead of obstacles and problems, and that's a key thing that people needs to do, is that start to look at what is the opportunity here, in this pandemic, in this situation that we are in. What is the opportunity, and really focus on that. Forget about all the different obstacles, all the different challenges. Focus on this opportunity and go after it. So we're going to take a break, and then we're going to conclude this amazing show. I don't want to actually end it, but it's just 1 hour, and at some point we have to go. So don't go anywhere. We're gonna be back with Rose today. We're just so inspired and learning so much from him today. So don't go anywhere. We are here. So we are back with Rose for the last part of the show. And one question that I really like to ask my guest is the following. What is the legacy that you want to leave, Rose? You've been obviously doing so much and inspiring so many people and changing so many lives. But what's next? What's left for you? And what is the legacy that you're really building up?
Yeah, the legacy that I'm leaving is that once I'm long gone, I want people to remember me for the things that I did, the person that I am, and that I was at that time, and the people that I've helped. I want to be known for the greatest motivational speaker on the planet that did everything he can, in spite of the odds being stacked against him. He did everything he can to help others climb up that mountain and get to the top. Even in the face of his own adversity, even in the face of his own difficulties and his own challenges, he helped other people win and get to the top as well. That's why I'm writing books. That's why I'm creating courses. That's why I'm doing coaching. That's why I'm speaking for large corporations and nonprofits, because I want to be in front of as many people as I possibly can.
And that's amazing. I mean, we've seen. I was watching really, before, while preparing this show, the amazing thing that you are doing, and that's just out of this world. Sometimes I'm like, wow, this guy is doing so much and impacting so many lives, and surely you're gonna be remembered. That's for sure. So just to ask how. Do you have any event coming up or anything that you feel like, the audience can, learn from or get connected into? Because I presume that a lot of people want to continue, especially in this audience, people who are watching or people who are going to watch the replay. We would like to connect with you and in a way, know exactly how they can tap into this knowledge and this experience that you just shared today. Obviously, there's more. You shared part of it, but there's definitely more than people can learn. So how they can connect, and what's coming up in on your side? I know we all locked up, but there must be something coming up knowing you now?
Yeah, absolutely. No, great question. And, I've been doing events even during the COVID. Obviously, they've instead of live, they've been virtual. But I've been doing events. I'm actually doing my first live event at the end of next month, which I'm excited about because, I'm excited about it. And and I also throw my own events as well. I have my own events that I throw. That it's called the Boss Seminar, which is the Business of Speaking Seminar, BOSS. And so I help other people understand what the speaking business looks like and what it is, and help them to craft and develop their stories also. But coming up for me, once, like I said, once the pandemic is over and the doors open back up, I'm going to be throwing my third Boss event, because I've already done two. I'm going to be throwing my third Boss event where people can attend in person or stream it online. I have, like I said, I have a book that my wife and I just finished writing together. It's a book on marriage and how we are able to keep a strong, thriving marriage together. Again, even in spite of our situation. My wife met me in a wheelchair. She fell in love with me in a wheelchair, and we got married. Right, we had children, and we're living an amazing life. And so we just finished writing that book. You can stay tuned for that. That's going to be coming out in the first quarter of next year. And I just recently launched, right in the beginning of COVID, a digital course. It's called the Mindset Takeover Mastery. So they can go to mindsettakeover.com, mindsettakeover.com, and they can check that out. It's a 10-week course where they get 10 hours of content from me, video content of me. And we're going over some of the stuff that's in my book. Don't Let Your Struggle Become Your Standard. And it's an amazing course. It's you can couple it with the book, and it's going to definitely help you take your mindset level to the next level. It's going to help you to understand and learn how to conquer your own mind, so that when life happens, you're not only prepared, but you're prepared to win. So I have that as well. And they can also check out my website. I have other products and services there as well. They can go to joseinspires.com. Very easy, joseinspires.com. And if anyone's interested in getting one-on-one coaching, they can reach out to me directly. It's not something that I have on my website. I do that more on a one-on-one level. So they can go ahead and reach out to me via social media. You have all my social media there, my website. I'm on every platform at Jose Inspires. So definitely reach out to me. And I would love to work with you, love to partner with you. If you have any virtual events or even live events in the future for the latter part of this year, or maybe even early next year, and you're looking for a dynamic speaker that's going to turn your whole audience upside down, you can go ahead
Definitely.
Reach out to me as well. So joseinspires.com. Also, what I wanted to do as well for you and your audience that's watching, as a gift and a token of my appreciation, I want to give everyone watching or listening a free gift. So it's real simple. If you go to freegift.joseinspires.com, it's freegift.joseinspires.com. Go ahead and go to that web address, and we'll go ahead and send you out a free gift. It's a motivational CD on that I created on the power of showing up. We've been talking about that. That's going to get you fired up and ramped up and prepared to start showing up more in your own life. So freegift.joseinspires.com, and we'll go ahead and get you that free gift.
Okay, so free gift at joseinspires.com. So don't hesitate. Just connect with Jose. You've seen how this platform has been, full of energy, and and we've been inspired today. So make sure you continue this conversation and you reach out to Jose to know more, because obviously in 1 hour it's difficult to have him to talk about everything. And if you really, want to connect to go to the next level and have coaching from him, don't hesitate, and please grab your free gift, and so that you can start the process in knowing, what are the products as well, and how, Jose work as far as, his coaching and everything that he does is concerned. So before we actually close out and, and leave this platform, any last word that you want to leave us with, Jose?
Yes, actually, just before I get into that, I just wanted to make a slight correction. It's freegift.joseinspires.com, not at joseinspires.com. So it's freegift.joseinspires.com.
Okay, dot roseinspired.com. Okay,
yeah,
let me just, yeah,
free
okay.
gift.joseinspires.com. So you can go ahead and get that. But yeah, if you guys are listening and watching, I just want to leave you guys with this. I know that COVID has messed. Yeah, there you go. I know that COVID has messed up a lot of things for a lot of people. Businesses have closed. People are getting laid off or furloughed. Hours are being cut short. And it's a very difficult time for many people across the planet. And I just want to let you know, if you're watching this, that this too shall pass. This isn't where the buck is going to stop. This isn't where the buck is going to stop. This isn't the final chapter of your story, and that greater things are yet to come. So if you're feeling down and out, if you're feeling bogged down, or things are going rough in your life, I want you to just make sure that you say what we said earlier and tell yourself, I won't stop until I win. And I want you to make sure, and I always say this as well, it's the title of my book, don't let your struggle become your standard. Do not let your struggle become your standard. It doesn't have to be your standard. It doesn't have to remain your standard. We're all going to go through bumps and potholes in life. But the key is to understand that you do not have to stay there. You have to pick yourself back up, keep on pressing forward, and keep on going towards the life that you want to live. So guys, I will see you at the top, because I always like to say, I'll see you at the top because the bottom is overcrowded.
Yeah, the bottom is overcrowded. So make sure you start now, because you heard, through this show. Start now and make sure that don't let, like Jose said, don't let your struggles become your standard. And make sure you get the book so you understand exactly what this message is all about. So it's been amazing to have you, Jose. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for your insight. And I'm sure that you disrupted some mindset today. You definitely disrupted mine, so that's a good thing. And I hope like I said at the beginning, that people are going to start. The audience is going to start to act on it, because like we said, through all this conversation, it's good to have we bring you all the knowledge, we bring you all the experience, the strategies, the tools, but the work is yours. So you have to implement, you have to have a plan of action that you're gonna implement on. And that's, I encourage you, because if you really want to go to the top and and leave this crowded place where you are, then you have to act. So the next step for you is to act. And don't forget to share, for people who've not been able to be here today, or people who don't have access to internet or to the platform. Please share with them, share this message. And and if you want more, please connect with Jose. He's on every single platform. And make sure you grab your gift as well. So that's been an incredible and a real greatness engineering hour today. And I'm really, really happy that we've been able to have Jose today and be disrupted for an hour. So thank you, Jose, again, and have a great day and a great weekend as well. And wishing you all the best in all the, in everything that you do, and continue to make a difference in people's life all over the world. So
Thank you so much.
thank you very much.